Now we move on. U.S. President Donald Trump has alleged a genocide against Christian citizens underway in the country of Nigeria and has warned of military attacks in Nigeria in response to this alleged genocide unless the Nigerian government acts on it independently. The U.S. president has also warned of cutting off all assistance to the African country if the government continues to allow the killings of Christians, according to him. Former UN genocide prosecutor Charles Ediogun Phillips has spoken about the viability of the American president's threats, even as Nigeria denies the charges and claims this is an excuse to aid an American invasion of their country. Let's listen in.
It would often be the case that the matter would be referred to the Security Council of the United Nations and resolutions would be passed if it gets to that stage, based on the fact that such atrocities may constitute a threat to global peace and security. So that would initially be the first step. And any interference with the sovereignty of a state would be by consensus, international consensus. Countries have a duty under the Genocide Conventions. The rulings of the International Court of Justice are to the effect that violations of the Genocide Convention are so grave and of common concern to the international community as a whole that you don't, to institute an action, you don't necessarily have to be affected by the alleged atrocities, as we have seen in the case of South Africa and the Gambia and Myanmar and other cases that have been brought before the court. Countries have a duty under the Genocide Conventions. The rulings of the International Court of Justice are to the effect that violations of the Genocide Convention are so grave and of common concern to the international community as a whole that you don't, to institute an action, you don't necessarily have to be affected by the alleged atrocities, as we have seen in the case of South Africa and the Gambia and Myanmar and other cases that have been brought before the court. Genocide involves, it's the only crime known to mankind that involves what we prosecutors know as the dolus specialis. It's a special intent to commit genocide, which is the ability to demonstrate that there was an intention on the part of the perpetrator to destroy, in whole or in part, members of a group identified as such based on religious, political, ethnic grounds. In this case, we're talking about Christians. And you would have to show, to be able to illustrate a genocide or prove a genocide, it will be unheard of to be able to show the occurrence of a genocide without the active involvement of the state.
Now for this discussion, we welcome former Ambassador Mahesh Sachdev. He's a former Indian ambassador, joins us live from New Delhi. Thank you very much, Ambassador, for joining us again. Good to see you. Ambassador, looking at this, what do you think could be America's interest in interfering in Nigerian politics or in their statements, genocide? Could there be anything other than, could there be any relations to the Nigeria's claim that it could be American aiding to American invasion?
That may sound far-fetched, but there are ulterior motives to be assigned to what Mr. Trump has said about Nigeria. Suddenly, just 3 days ago, on November 1, he has taken this initiative, accusing the Nigerian government of not being able to control Christians' genocide, etc., and threatened to escalate the rhetoric all the way to asking Department of War to have plans and so on and so forth. There is the need to see it in a wider perspective. World is awash with oil glut, which is likely to get worse in 2026. Almost all observers agree that oil prices are bound to fall as of now to something like $52 next year on average. This would be a particularly difficult situation for United States, which is the largest producer of crude at the moment and one of the major exporters. Much of the additional crude that the United States has produced over the last 15 years has come from shale technology, which is capital intensive and which would erode its competitiveness if oil prices were to go too low. So you are now witnessing separate but connected actions against a number of oil producing countries by the United States to make them appear to be unreliable partners for supplying of crude over a longer term. You have Iran, which has seen military action and severest sanctions. You've seen escalation of action against Lukoil and Gazprom. You have also, and Russia in particular. You have action in Venezuela, and now you have something of a threat being waved at Nigeria. Nigeria is particularly important because Nigerian crude exports competes in quality terms with shale oil produced by United States across the Atlantic in Texas. So that I see it as perhaps the only logical motive for the United States president to certainly agitate this particular threat against Africa's largest oil producer. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ambassador Mahesh Sachdev, for sharing that insight. Now that's all we have time for. Keep watching NewsX